Hello to everyone. Okay, today I'm going to be doing a little old-fashioned cooking. So I wisely poured the honey in the cup, and now I want a little mint tea. Okay, this is the good stuff. You know, just because I'm going to be cooking a little, I still want to enjoy life. So, I mentioned to you guys I got 90 new followers. And so, the interesting thing is nothing is hidden and nothing is secret because my smartphone tells me everything. It tells me how old you are, where you are, everything. So this is how I know about these new followers. And so if you're a new follower, welcome and hang around. And if you have a comment, make a comment, read the comments because my followers leave awesome comments. When I started this, I was hoping this would happen. Okay, this is the mint tea with a meal is one of the best. Very relaxing. So, okay, I want to cook some food up. And so the first thing I want to make is some bread. Okay, if you're new to following me, you might be going, why should I make bread? Why? I can just go to the store and I can just buy bread for $1. That's true. The problem comes, what if you don't have $1? Or what if something happens and the power is out and you cannot get into the store? You don't want to run out of bread. So I'm making one loaf. I have a little more than a half cup water. I put 1 tablespoon sugar and I put 2 1/2 teaspoons yeast. Okay, I didn't use 1/2 portion yeast. Okay, I had a little of this and then I used this yeast. I bought this at 99 cents only. You can't always get this. And then I have 1 tablespoon butter. I switched from margarine to butter, which caused me a little aggravation when I was trying to make that's 1 tablespoon. I was trying to make the chicken and I didn't have any margarine. You can't bake your chicken with butter because it'll burn. I put a little salt. This recipe doesn't call for the salt, but I put a little salt. Okay, and then I bought this flour, 4 pounds for $1 when it was cheap at Dollar Tree. So you might be wondering, why do you keep going over and over and over this bread thing? Well, there's a good reason. Just in case you might ever want to make bread, and you've seen me make this bread a few times. I'm just going to use white flour because I'm going to make some cheese and bacon and jalapeno bread because I want to have some eggs. Okay, one of the reasons I want to do this is I want to up the nutrition a little bit of my bread, and I'm making a few other things, and I will show you in a minute. So what I do is I make the bread in a big bowl so as to contain the mess all in one spot. And my bread is, I guarantee you, going to be good. And my bread is going to be made the old-fashioned way. Because in the day, you know, there wasn't a 7-Eleven on every corner. If you're new to stockpiling, start out with 10 pounds of flour. I usually I don't want the food laying around the house for an indefinite period of time. The way I do it is every 3, 4, 6 months, I eat it. Like right now, what I'm doing is I'm basically eating my stockpile, so I'm having to spend very little money on food. And that's a good way to save money too. And that's a good way to learn how to do things in a way so that you'll be safe from ever running out of food. But if you do run out of food and, you know, you just have a little money left, if you can make bread and you can make some gravy, and you have a, you know, they have very cheap meat, like one of the cheap meats is sausage. In my followers, a lot of my followers were Mid-Eastern, and when I started, you know, we eat a lot of pork. Making no apology for that either. You know, in the day, you know, the family, you know, during the Depression, there wasn't much meat, and so one uncle was a barber, and he was paid for the haircuts in Virginia hams, and so he brought his sisters and mother and everyone some ham. And then, you know, that side of the family was grateful, and, you know, there were stories about the Virginia hams for generations. In fact, if we went out to eat, my grandfather would always get ham and eggs, because ham and eggs is good. That's why. Okay, so now I'm gonna knead my bread right here in the bowl. And what I'm going to do is I am going to make my bread in a skillet. And if you don't have an oven or you don't have a toaster oven, just cover your bread, you know, make your bread, make it into rolls, not a loaf. And then put it on your camp stove, your barbecue, or your hot plate, and put a little foil tint or pan cover, you know, cover your pan, and put your pan on low, and then just keep an eye on it, and you can bake it right on top of the stove. I did it many times, you know, when I was doing the stealthy car living thing. Oh, and I'm not done with that either. Not even. In fact, I want to buy a van, and I noticed a couple of the followers want to buy vans too. I think it's a good idea. Okay, so now I'm going to make this into a few rolls. I'll show you in 1 second. See how easy this is? Let me give you, okay, for the stockpile, you want a super easy recipe. I would suggest this one. Stockpile flour, yeast, sugar. I think it needs salt. Okay, now. Oh, this is hot. The handle is hot, the pan is not hot. Okay, I fried bacon in here. Now, if you're kind of broke and you don't have, if you don't have enough money for oil, save your meat fat. Don't be ridiculous. If you need a little fat, okay, so I just want to grease my pan with the bacon fat. That's good enough. Okay, so now I'm going to take my bread that I just made, and I'm going to make some little rolls. I have kind of a soft dough. I like my bread kind of soft. You know, when you go to the grocery store and you buy these jalapeno cheese rolls, they're expensive, but when you make them at home, they're not expensive. So if you bought these out, these would be, I don't know, maybe $1, but when you make them at home, they're not $1. Okay, so now there's my rolls. Now what? Now for some old-fashioned cooking, you guys. Okay, so I fried bacon, and I want to chop my bacon in little pieces. Not teeny tiny pieces, but rather small pieces. And if I have some left, I'm just going to eat them, but I could save them for bacon bits. But my mouth is watering. You know, this is back to the pork eating. If you're a pork hater, they have turkey bacon. Now the bacon is useful because you can also make gravy with your bacon. You know, if you have flour in the stockpile. Okay, so that's good on the bacon. Okay, so what I did is I melted a little extra margarine because I want a little bit on the top of my rolls. And this really isn't messy. It really isn't. You know what I do? I throw everything in the sink with some water and soap, and I just leave it in there, and then I rinse it, and you know, I throw it in the okay, so for the jalapeno, I have jalapeno salsa left, so I want to use it. And trust me, these are going to be better than any jalapeno stuff you buy when you make it homemade. If you don't have green salsa, just use red. This is the joy of making your own food. Okay, and so one of the things you want to stockpile is salsa, red and green. I usually use green on pork, and I use green on chicken. Okay, now let me get my cheese. Where's my cheese? Okay, so I bought cheese at Ralph's for $5.99. No, grocery outlet, I think. No, it was Smart and Final. Okay, now when these rise, I'm just going to rise them one time. You know, they'll rise up over that little bit of cheese. Okay, so there is my bread, my homemade bread, okay? All right, we're not done. All right, I'll be right back. So that is not a very big mess, and these are going to be really, really good because I made something, and I will show you what I made. Okay. I worked in a shop with a lot of immigrants, and it was obvious to me that they had no idea what to do with their, you know, they're given free food. So, okay, I got these apricots when they were cheap. And so what I made with these was I made cooked fruit. Okay, you just drain the fruit and cover it with water. And for a little can like this, I added 2 tablespoons sugar, and I cooked it down. And this is going to taste good on the side of my meal that I'm going to make, which is going to be eggs with potatoes and homemade bread. Okay, and then I want to mention one of the things you want to stockpile is you want to stockpile all kinds of milk. And what I did is I just mixed up 2 cups of water. I find this one to be good. This brand, I bought it at Walmart. It makes a lot. And if you mix up 2 cups at a time, there's going to be very little chance. First of all, so it's a 1/2 cup milk. And notice I'm using a clean spoon. One of the things you want to be careful is don't contaminate your food. Okay, now basically I am supposed to be drinking this every day. Let's see, how many? Okay, so there's 12 cups, and this was $4.48. So I mix up my milk 2 cups at a time. And so, okay, I'll raise my bread, and this is some old-fashioned cooking. Strike these words from your vocabulary. I can't, and I will be back.